When do you reckon you can eat those?
After the press?
Oh. It's not the underdone. It's the players that have had surgery need to play. They need to be in the middle. In a cricket sense, they need to be facing the opposition at the crease, not in the nets. So that's why our player group, with several of those players, catch up football up until January. The more we get them out there, the better they're going to play. So there's not much you can do during the week. It's more about playing football, and that's why I feel confident that every week that goes past, these players that have had that type of surgery that's been restrictive pre-Christmas will get better, and we just need to keep them out there. Yeah, and that simply means minutes of football too, not being interchanged as often, but minutes of football so we can hasten their hardness around AFL football, if you like. Not at all. We're not there to say this will cost us in wins or losses. This is just simply a fact of life. That we haven't got 22 players in that position. We've got half a dozen. So it's important to get. We want to win games of footy, and three-quarter time last week we thought we were in the hunt. Now that got blown out of the water pretty quickly in the first, say, 7 or 8 minutes, but. That won't diminish our appetite for victory, and it won't diminish our belief that we can win games of footy. It just simply means that these players have got to play more football, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to, every opportunity we get is to play them on the ground. It's hard to dismiss. It's easy to say, no, we take every game as it comes, and we do take every game as it comes. So we don't want to we won't be less prepared because we're playing a non-traditional rival, but I've got to say that final last year and the round 21 or whatever it was, I've been in footy for quite some time. That's got to be one of the best sounds I've ever heard. And it was so great for football to see a record crowd at a elimination final, wasn't it? At two traditional rivals. It's like asking Adelaide about Port or Fremantle about West Coast. Now that's only not recent, but our history, we're in 150th year, and Richmond wouldn't be far off it. Is something that has been over the ages been one of the great rivalry games, and it's fantastic to be a standalone Thursday night, MCG, the best stadium in the world, two teams going hard at it. Yeah, it does, gives you a buzz. It's an interesting question, and I'm probably in a good position to answer it because I've only been part of three of those games. And players who play tomorrow night, there'll be a lot of players that haven't been party to more than half those games, if not, in some instances, 3 or 4 games. So I don't think for one moment really sides get scarred by it. I've played and coached sides that have been, history shows that you haven't won against them for some time. There's no scarring. You treat every week as a different week. It's reinforced by the media because it's a media point, which the supporters pick up. But reality-wise is that it's a game of football. It's a new game of football. It's got nothing. You don't get an advantage because you've won 11 of 12 or whatever. They don't give you a first quarter start or a few goals start. Wish they did. Be handy, but no, it doesn't happen. I'm sure Richmond will be. Yeah, I'm positive Richmond will be. I can tell you they will be because I've been very fortunate to have been awarded a life membership at Richmond last year. I didn't accept it because I couldn't accept it. I was overseas, but my wife accepted it, and they spoke only 2 clubs, Richmond and Carlton. So I guess that says something about that game. So will they be cranked up? Well, if the general annual meeting in December last year didn't do it, that's when they started thinking about our game. No. We can't control what the opposition do until match day. Now, when that siren blows, then we can do something about trying to control the opposition. But prior to that, we've got no say in it. Media, the media got to have something to go at. There's 9 winners, 9 losers. We jump up on the newness of a new team, perhaps in Greater Western Sydney beating Sydney. The Sydney don't get a lot of heat. It all falls to Greater Western Sydney how great they look. I guess, teams that were expected to win, heavily expected to win, and they don't, then there might be a little bit of fallout. But the reality is it's a marathon. Every football season is a marathon. We tend to get caught up in round one. If all your energies had to be directed to round one and you made the 8 or we didn't make the 8 on round one, then we may do things a little bit differently. But we all know it's a marathon. No, you want to win early games. And we don't go out there to lessen our want to win the game of football. Round two is round two. Your next game of your life is your most important because you don't know when it's going to end. So therefore we attack round two as we want to win the game. Well, no, we've analysed Richmond over the 4 games that have been played. Are they doing anything differently? There's a few players playing in different roles, but I don't know whether the game style is any different. But we know that those players can just as easily go back to their former roles. Nothing stops a coach from experimenting and swinging the player back. One of the cliches, it's an old one, is expect the unexpected. But what you get from Richmond is I know you get a very genuine, and maybe a bit biased, being former Richmond, but you get a decent know that they're going to have a crack at you, one way or the other. It's hard to tell after the players always believe that they're, probably defy the medical odds and go to play, but it's a conservative approach for a player that's played a lot of football, 12 years or thereabouts, maybe more, 13 years, and to try to rush him back would be an injustice to his body. So we just want to get him back playing good football, get him back as injury-free and as feeling as good about himself as we possibly can. To rush him back is probably all against what I've always thought about a bloke like Chris Judd. If you have to rely on one player, you're barking up the wrong tree. You've got to be able to spread the workload, take on responsibilities, absorb that one player that's out or 2 players out or 3 players that's out and go forward. No one sitting in the grandstand has ever won a game of footy. It's only the blokes out in the ground that win games of footy. And I'll be focusing totally on the blokes that are out in the ground. He is a wonderful, we use the word too often, champion, but he is a champion. You'd never deny a champion coming back and playing great sport, whatever sport he's involved in. So I have the utmost confidence he'll come back and have an impact. I wouldn't have thought so. All he has done is, like everyone else, we had 3 or 4 players from that game were a bit sore, basically through soft tissue. In other words, corks and so forth. Yeah, well, it's frustrating, but I can understand it. I think our reserve sides have already had about 4 or 5 games, and that's a lot of games to have, and you've still got a week to go. So he and Sam Doherty both would have played this week had there been a game. But we can top up at training, and one thing you can do at training is VFL is a lesser intensity than expected, but training you can rig it any way you want to rig it, and those players will know that they've had a decent hit out, believe me. But we're looking forward to getting both those boys back.